The Romantics lived in an age of declining religious belief. Instead of going to church to be spiritually uplifted, they went to nature. And I think you can sense in their work that God and man have only just parted company. We live in a very different world. There's not much God in it, and much less nature. Often just fragments of green at the concrete margin. The very idea of catching sight of heaven in a wild flower seems fancifully remote. An artist whose drawings I think brilliantly capture this creeping sense of disenchantment is George Shaw. I think of him as the constable of the council estate.
When I went to an art gallery at the age of 14, I didn't see my world in the art gallery. So you would go down to the Tate, like the proper Tate, and there would be like pictures on the walls of Victorians or something, kings and queens or idyllic cornfields. And you think, where's my life then? Maybe my life isn't worth anything, really. What you saw in the gallery was not your world, so you stepped out of your world into the gallery. So I thought, what's wrong with just drawing the thing that's just open your window and draw the thing which is there? And if you don't find it beautiful, that's your fault.
I think Shaw's work is beautiful, and fittingly, it is now on the walls of the Tate. His pictures are rooted in the streets of Tile Hill, a suburb just outside Coventry, where he grew up. But they're not just uncannily accurate depictions of this place. They're descriptions of a mood. Modern man, alienated in a largely man-made landscape. And just as the physical world has changed remarkably since the days of Turner and Constable, so too has the artist's sense of capturing his own place in it. You won't catch George Shaw sketching by the roadside in Tile Hill. He doesn't even live there anymore. Everything is done in a seaside studio in North Devon, from humble snapshot photographs that might have been taken many years before.
Certain people I've talked to would quite like me to work like an old-fashioned artist. You know, sitting there with an easel or a sketchbook, making concise notes. I think they like that, the fact that there might be somebody working away like that might plug into that romantic notion. The reality is I kind of skulk around with a very small camera, quite furtively. I want to do the job quickly. I want to be in and out, really. I'm not a solitary stroller wandering around seeking inspiration. I had the inspiration. I've just got to do the work now. So I feel much more like a hunter, really. I started off with an idea that I would make work about the place where I came from. And as it's sort of gone on, it's become less to do with memory or to do with a thing which has gone, and much more to do with me in the present looking back at something which probably isn't there. The natural world that appears in my work is always second-hand. It's had another life, it's getting processed, and it's slightly used up. The sun doesn't illuminate anything. The brick walls don't protect anything. The grass doesn't grow. It's all been fetishised. Its purpose has been completely removed. It's just a totally painted, non-existent world, really. I mean, I've got sketchbooks and books of drawings going back years, and what I find looking at them is each one's like a gravestone, really. Each one's like is a marker in time or a little memento mori.
Shaw's landscapes are filled with melancholic beauty, a sense of longing, a frozen, slightly unreal mood. Even at their most tranquil, like this watercolour filled with glowing evening light, there's a creeping tension to them, as if life is somehow elsewhere. Their sadness comes, I think, from Shaw's knowledge that you can't actually freeze time. Like Constable, he recognises that the world is ever-changing, only he doesn't celebrate that. He laments it, seeing the change as a loss. I think these pictures are about the end of innocence, about never being able to go home. But they're also a way of giving all the ghosts an afterlife in lines on paper.
What is odd is Tile Hill did stay the same for what seemed like years. And it all started to be taken apart, regenerated, for the better in a lot of areas. But it was odd to see pubs that have been there for my lifetime just razed to the ground, and there's probably not a single image of it, except for the drawing. Now, that's not much to brag about, I know. That's not like I played for England or something. But, you know, I've documented a place that probably would have been completely invisible. But also, I've probably documented a life which would have been quite invisible, which is my life, I suppose, in a way, if only for my own benefits. And I've given it due time and attention, I think.